Now, we're going to have at 8 a.m. Remember, Greg Papa at 9, Niners at 9, 8 a.m. Amanda Kristovich, sports business reporter for Front Office
good
Sports.
Business.
Yeah, very good. Other good at business.
She broke a story yesterday.
Yeah, that Sac State is maybe taking a look at the Pac-12 from Mountain West. And the idea here is that they're going to try to make a move. Now, I know somebody who is working with the group.
The Sacramento leaders. This is important because it's different than Sacramento State.
That is correct. So you have Sac State and you have Luke Wood, the president, Dr. Wood, and that whole contingent. And then you have this kind of satellite group, if you will. And I got some info, and this is from someone that's really familiar with all the ins and outs. So Sac State believes that they have a pathway to getting a stadium built on campus.
Mm-hmm.
So this new group is announcing later today, they'll announce the co-chairs and the name and the goals of the campaign. So it's not going to be the same, but think like KJ's Think Big, for the Kings and all that. It's going to be that type of group made up of city leaders and movers and shakers and whatever. They're going to announce the members of the executive committee over the next few weeks. The co-chairs consists of, and the executive committee, it'll be elected officials, top leaders in business and labor, and prominent Sac State alumni. I asked about Tom Hanks, apparently. But apparently a lot of these names are names the public will be familiar with, front-facing names. But they're doing this because they see a real opportunity with the size of the media market, the student body, and the sports fan base in Sacramento. They have an opportunity to make this happen. So they're trying to put pressure on the university to get all this done with Dr. Wood, who they believe he's the right guy at the right time, committed to kind of make Sac State, jump up to that world class, or should we say country class?
Yeah.
Because there's no college football in Europe, but or is there? No, the old college soccer. Their football. So that's a little bit of the details on what's coming. But this is a dance, Jason, to be sure, because it's almost like getting a membership at Augusta National. You're not supposed to ask for a membership. That's the quickest way to, same thing with expansion in baseball or basketball. You don't ask, you don't talk in public. So what they have to do is, whether these two are working in conjunction or not, I'll let you figure that out. But you have an outside group that comes in.
Yeah.
Because we
talk more for Sacramento.
Right. And we talked to Sac State officials yesterday. I know you did. Yeah. I did. They don't want to talk right now. They're in a conference.
Absolutely.
They don't want to mess around.
To your point, they still have to be invited.
That's right.
To this party.
That's right. And you have to be very careful with, it's it's not exactly like this, but imagine you're in a marriage and you don't like it and you've got this huge upgrade and you better make sure they want to get married or they want to be before you leave your wife and kids. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, look, now let's be done with the facts or the news we have, and I'll just talk to you as a guy who doesn't know anything more than what I just said. I really, truly don't. I don't see a chance in hell of them getting into the Pac-12. Mm-hmm. That just seems way too ambitious. I don't mind the ambition. I'm just saying if I'm an odds maker. But this does seem like a move where they could kind of have, to borrow Dave Cavill's words, parallel paths.
Yeah.
And no Pac-12. But Mountain West seems like something that actually maybe could happen, and that would be a huge win for Sac State.
Yeah. So, what I speculating on from people that I've talked to at Sac State over the years, whether they're still there, whether they're not there, there's been people, John Volek for years had said stuff like this, like Sac State could be, the Florida State of the West. And that was one of his famous sayings. And at the time, people always thought he was crazy. There's no way. Well, I think there is a path. There is an avenue of really making the program much bigger than it is. Now, they're going to need a lot of help on that. Right. I think you mentioned the President Dr. Wood. He comes from San Diego State, helped build a stadium down there. Uh-huh. I think knowing him and talking to him before he's even said it publicly, I think he's always had bigger goals and dreams so I feel like that lines up. It's just now the execution and how could it be done. And so I think immediately, Dave, people will go to like, oh, well, if that's football, that's great. Or maybe
Right.
basketball, that's great. Well, it's really for every program. And so there's not just facilities for football and basketball that need upgrading. There's facilities everywhere. So now we're just talking to the brass tacks, and that's just a ton of money. So it's ambitious. I think they should be ambitious. I think it would be fantastic. But there's a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of things in the way. But first and foremost, the most important one is to be invited.
Right.
And then the other argument that you brought up, so Pac-12, if that's the biggest aspiration and maybe the farthest one out of reach, but still a goal, I guess a question I would bounce back to you, and I think I know your answer, but would they be better off as a program just if they got into a Mountain West that now to me doesn't seem to be as strong because the guys that moved to the Pac-12 are kind of the meat and potatoes of the Mountain West? Are you better off, I don't know if that's the right saying, but staying in a very good conference in the Big Sky and being kind of a bigger fish now at the FCS level than being I don't know if that's the right term, but a smaller fish at a higher level?
No, I think that's a very fair question. One other note about Luke Wood real quick. I've only met Luke once.
Mm-hmm.
I knew his late twin brother, Josh, really well, who was a huge part. If there was ever a documentary made of all the unsung heroes, you hear me talk about Canal Merchant a lot and all the people that maybe aren't on the tip of everyone's tongue when it comes to saving the Kings and being that part, Josh would be one of the stars of that. He was an incredibly forward-thinking person. And look, twin brothers doesn't mean you're exactly the same. I'm just going to guess that Dr. Luke Wood, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree there. Same thing. Sure. Big vision, highly motivated.
Absolutely.
To your question. So in the Big Sky, let's just look at the teams here real quick that are currently in there or try to at least.
Yeah.
You've got teams that, Weber State, Portland State, Northern Colorado, Northern Arizona. These are the peers of Sac State. That is an appropriate level for them to be at. Mountain West, you've got, and now remember, Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado State, San Diego State, all leaving for the Pac, whatever the hell it is. You still have the Air Force Academy, UNR, Nevada, Reno, UNLV, New Mexico. By the way, I did hear yesterday that who said it? Somebody said it to me yesterday that the Pac-12, the thought was the Pac-12 was trying to get UNLV, but
I heard that from multiple people.
Was it you that told me that? I'm sorry. Okay, you're the one that told me, but they wanted UNR as well.
Yeah.
New Mexico, San Jose State, Utah State, University of Wyoming. Now,
those are all bigger, but are they substantially bigger? That's the question.
I think that if you draw a graph, you've got the Pac-12 schools, and then you have Mountain West, and then you have Sac State in the Big Sky. I acknowledge that Sac State moving up to this level, they're not going to be as successful right away as if they stayed in the Big Sky.
Yeah.
There is a transition. But I think if you want to become a big school, that's what you have. There's growing pains.
Sure.
You have to do that. Are they ever going to get to the level of a Wyoming or a UNLV or an Air Force? Yes, but it's going to take a lot of money. And I'm really more interested as we go to break here, Jason. We've gone from the Kings and the Republic trying to go MLS. You realize now we're looking at a possible 3 outdoor stadiums. Sac State, if they're doing theirs on campus, that means it's different from the Republic Stadium, which I'm and full disclosure, by the way, you're the play-by-play voice of Sac State. I work very closely with Kevin Nagel, who's trying to build the stadium. I don't know the details. I truly don't. I just know they're very close. But you have that one. And then possibly, again, I don't know what's going to happen with the A's, but there's a faint picture there of if something happened, you're going to need a baseball stadium.
Incredible.
Where the hell are all these stadiums? I know where one stadium's coming from. I don't know where the other 2 are coming from, but it's talking about going from 0 to 100.
Right.
So exciting times in Sacramento. We'll take a break. When we come back, speaking of stadiums, the A's in Sacramento. There was the big hullabaloo yesterday about the